Where's your sister?
Inheritance of ashes. The security camera footage showed my wife Nina climbing into Eric Cole's BMW at 2:47 a.m. I watched it 3 times before the coffee got cold. 22 years of marriage, and she was sneaking out like a teenager. The timestamp burned into my retinas as I sat in my workshop, the familiar smell of sawdust and wood stain doing nothing to calm the storm building in my chest. My hands, scarred from decades of carpentry work, trembled as I reached for my phone. "Dad?" Tyler's voice cracked through the speaker. My 16-year-old son sounded tired. "Just checking on you, buddy. Everything okay at home?" "Mom's not here, again. Zoe's upstairs crying about something with Nathan." Nathan Cole, Eric's son, the kid who'd been dating my 18-year-old daughter for 3 months. The same Eric Cole who was currently destroying my marriage. "I'll be home soon," I said, ending the call. The irony wasn't lost on me. Eric Cole, the former college football star who owned half the businesses in our small Virginia town, was screwing my wife while his son was dating my daughter. It was like some twisted family sitcom nobody would find funny. I locked up the workshop and drove home through the empty streets of Millbrook, population 8,900, where everyone knew everyone else's business, except apparently mine. The house was dark when I pulled into the driveway. Nina's car sat in the garage, but I knew she wasn't inside. She'd been playing this game for weeks now, sneaking out after she thought I was asleep, then slipping back in before dawn. I found Tyler in the kitchen making a sandwich. "Where's your sister?" "Upstairs, probably texting Nathan about their complicated relationship." He made air quotes with his fingers. "Dad, are you and Mom okay?" The question hit me like a punch to the gut. Tyler was observant, always had been, the quiet kid who noticed everything but said little. "We're working through some things," I said, the lie tasting bitter. "Working through Mom sneaking out at night?" So he knew. Of course he knew. "Tyler, I'm not stupid, Dad. I hear the car starting. I see her checking her phone and smiling. And I know Eric Cole's been coming around the diner when you're not there." I pulled out a chair and sat down heavily. "How long have you known?" "About a month, maybe longer." He took a bite of his sandwich, chewing thoughtfully. "Zoe knows too. She thinks it's romantic." "Romantic?" "She says Mom deserves to be happy, that you're too boring for her." The words stung more than they should have. I'd been working 60-hour weeks for years, building our savings, paying for Zoe's college fund, keeping us stable. Boring, maybe, but responsible. "What do you think?" I asked. Tyler looked at me with eyes that seemed too old for his face. "I think Eric Cole is a piece of crap, and Mom's making a mistake." We sat in silence for a while, father and son, both knowing our family was falling apart. The next morning, Nina acted like nothing had happened. She hummed while making coffee, kissed my cheek, and asked about my day. The performance was so convincing I almost believed it myself. "I'm taking Zoe shopping today," she said, buttering toast. "She needs a new dress for the spring formal." "Formal's not for 2 months." "Well, you know how she is. Likes to plan ahead." I knew exactly how Zoe was. Impulsive, dramatic, and currently infatuated with the idea of her mother's affair. According to Tyler, she'd been encouraging it. "I'll be at the Henderson job today," I said. "Kitchen renovation. Might run late." "That's fine. I'll make dinner reservations at Romano's." "Family night?" Family night. The words felt hollow. I spent the day ripping out old cabinets, channeling my frustration into physical work. The Henderson house was a Victorian monster that had been chopped up and badly renovated in the 70s. I was bringing it back to life, board by board. Around noon, my phone buzzed. A text from Nina. "Shopping with Zoe. Might grab lunch. Love you." I called the 3 dress shops in town. None of them had seen Nina or Zoe. By 3 o'clock, I was sitting in my truck outside the Colonial Inn, the only motel in Millbrook that rented by the hour. Nina's car was in the parking lot, along with Eric Cole's BMW. I could have kicked down the door, could have made a scene. Instead, I sat there for 2 hours, watching other people's lives continue while mine collapsed. When they finally came out, Nina was laughing at something Eric said. He kissed her goodbye, right there in the parking lot, his hands on her hips like he owned her. I followed her home, keeping my distance. She beat me there by 10 minutes, long enough to change clothes and start cooking dinner. "How was shopping?" I asked when I walked in. "Wonderful. Zoe found the perfect dress, light blue, very elegant." "Where is she now?" "Upstairs, probably texting Nathan." I went to check. Zoe was in her room, but she wasn't texting. She was reading, still in the same clothes from breakfast. No shopping bags, no new dress. "Hey, sweetheart. How was shopping with Mom? She looked up, confused. Shopping? We didn't go shopping. Mom dropped me off at Melissa's house this morning. The lie was so casual, so practiced. I wondered how many others I'd believed. That night at Romano's, we sat in our usual booth, pretending to be a normal family. Nina ordered the salmon, I got the chicken, and the kids shared appetizers. The conversation was stilted, full of awkward pauses. So, Nina said, cutting her fish. Eric Cole stopped by the diner today. He was asking about you, Luke. Was he? Yes, he said he'd like to get to know you better. Maybe we could all have dinner sometime. Him and his son. Tyler nearly choked on his breadstick. Zoe's eyes lit up. That would be amazing, Zoe said. Nathan's always talking about how cool his dad is. I'm sure he is, I said. You'd like Eric, Nina continued. He's got this energy about him, very charismatic. I bet he does. After dinner, we walked to the town square where they were setting up for the spring festival. Nina chatted with neighbors, played the perfect wife. I watched her performance with new eyes, seeing the actress beneath the role. Luke! Eric Cole's voice boomed across the square. He approached with Nathan in tow, all smiles and firm handshakes. Great to see you, man. Your wife's been telling me about your carpentry work. Has she? Yeah, I might have some projects coming up. We should grab a beer sometime, talk business. He was good, I had to admit. Confident without being cocky, friendly without being fake. The kind of man who could sell ice to an Eskimo or convince a married woman to betray her family. I'd like that, I said. Great. Nina, you've got my number. Have Luke call me. As they walked away, Nathan turned back to wave at Zoe. Young love, innocent and hopeful. I wondered if the kid knew what his father was doing. He seems nice, I said to Nina. He is. Very nice. That night, I pretended to sleep while Nina slipped out of bed at 2:30 a.m. I heard the garage door, counted to 60, then followed her. The Colonial Inn again. This time, I parked across the street and called Detective Ron Halper, an old Army buddy who worked for the county sheriff's department. Ron, it's Luke Grant. I need a favor. What's up, Luke? I need to know if adultery is still grounds for divorce in Virginia. Yeah, it is, but you need proof. Real proof, not just suspicion. I'm working on it. Luke, whatever you're thinking, I'm not thinking anything violent, Ron. I just need to know my options. Document everything. Pictures, times, places. But be careful. Stalking charges are serious. I'm not stalking. I'm protecting my interests. The next morning, I installed a GPS tracker on Nina's car. Legal, since it was registered in my name. Then I bought a voice recorder and started wearing it whenever we talked. The evidence piled up quickly. Afternoon meetings at the motel, phone calls that ended when I entered the room, credit card charges at restaurants I'd never been to. But I needed more than evidence. I needed a plan. I started with the legal stuff. Met with a divorce lawyer in the next town over, a sharp woman named Patricia Wells who specialized in contested divorces. Virginia is a no-fault state, she explained, but adultery can affect property division and alimony. If you can prove it, you're in a strong position. I can prove it. Good. What about the children? Tyler will stay with me. Zoe, I paused. Zoe might be a problem. Why? She's been supporting her mother, encouraging the affair. Patricia raised an eyebrow. That's unusual. My daughter thinks I'm boring. She wants her mother to be happy. How old is she? 18. Old enough to make her own choices, and old enough to face the consequences. Over the next 2 weeks, I quietly organized my finances, moved money from joint accounts to my personal account, canceled credit cards, put the house in my name only, something I could do since I'd inherited it from my father. I also started working out again, something I hadn't done seriously since leaving the Army. The gym became my sanctuary, a place to channel my rage into something productive. One evening, I was spotting for Tyler when Eric Cole walked in. He was wearing expensive workout clothes and the kind of confident smile that made me want to punch him. Luke, great to see you here. Mind if I work in? Not at all. We lifted in silence for a while, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Eric was strong, but he was also 45 and soft around the edges. I was 52 and still had the build of a soldier. Your wife's been coming to my spinning class, he said during a break. Has she? Yeah, she's got to great form. Natural athlete. The double meaning wasn't lost on me. I loaded more weight onto the bar. She's full of surprises, I said. Indeed she is. I finished my set and racked the weights. Eric was still talking, but I wasn't listening. I was imagining what it would feel like to wrap my hands around his throat. Luke, you okay, man? Fine. Just thinking about work. Well, don't work too hard. Life's too short, you know? That night, I decided it was time to confront Nina. I waited until the kids were asleep, then sat her down in the living room. We need to talk, I said. She looked up from her magazine, suddenly wary. About what? About Eric Cole. The color drained from her face. What about him? I know, Nina. I know everything. For a moment, she looked like she might confess. Then her expression hardened. I don't know what you're talking about. The motel, the phone calls, the lies. You're paranoid, Luke. You always have been. I have pictures. That got her attention. She set down the magazine and really looked at me for the first time in months. Pictures of what? You and Eric, coming out of the Colonial Inn, kissing in the parking lot, having lunch at the Riverside Cafe while you told me you were shopping with Zoe. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, you had me followed? I followed you myself. That's sick, Luke. That's really sick. What's sick is lying to your husband of 22 years. I haven't lied about anything. You told me you went shopping with Zoe. She was at Melissa's house. She stopped, trapped by her own words. You what, Nina? You forgot? You made a mistake? Or you lied to cover up your affair? She stood up, pacing now. Okay, fine. Yes, I've been seeing Eric, but it's not what you think. What is it then? It's complicated. Complicated how? You wouldn't understand. Try me. She turned to face me, and for a moment I saw the woman I'd married. Young, beautiful, full of dreams. Then the mask slipped back into place. I'm not happy, Luke. I haven't been happy for years. So you decided to cheat. I decided to live, to feel alive again. And Eric makes you feel alive? Yes, he does. The honesty was brutal. I'd expected denial, anger, maybe tears. Not this calm admission that our marriage was dead. What about the kids? What about them? How do you think they'll feel when they find out their mother is a cheater? Tyler already knows. He's been giving me dirty looks for weeks. And Zoe? Nina's expression softened slightly. Zoe understands. She wants me to be happy. She wants you to be happy with someone who isn't her father? She's 18, Luke. She's not a child. She's still our daughter. Our daughter who's been telling me for months that I should leave you. The words hit me like a physical blow. My own daughter encouraging my wife to leave me. She said that? She said you're holding me back. That I deserve better. Better than the man who's worked his ass off for 22 years to provide for this family? Better than the man who comes home, eats dinner, and falls asleep in front of the TV every night? I was tired, Nina. I was working to support us. You were boring, Luke. You're still boring. She might as well have driven a knife into my chest. I sat there, stunned, as she continued. Eric makes me laugh. He takes me places. He makes me feel beautiful. I've always thought you were beautiful. When? When was the last time you told me I was beautiful? When was the last time you took me somewhere nice? When was the last time you even noticed me? I couldn't answer. Not because I didn't want to, but because I honestly couldn't remember. I notice you now, I said quietly. Now it's too late. Is it? Is it really too late? She looked at me with something that might have been pity. Yes, Luke. It is. That night I slept in the guest room. When I woke up, Nina was gone. So was Zoe. Tyler was in the kitchen making cereal. They left early, he said without looking up. Mom said they had errands to run. What kind of errands? The kind that involve Eric Cole, probably? I poured myself coffee and sat down across from my son. Tyler, I need you to know that whatever happens between your mother and me, it's not your fault. I know that, Dad. And I need you to know that I'm going to fight for this family. Even if Zoe and Mom don't want you to, especially then. He looked up at me and I saw something I hadn't seen in years. Respect. Good, he said. Fight. I spent the morning at the Henderson house, but I couldn't concentrate. Every time I swung a hammer, I thought about Eric Cole's face. Every time I measured a board, I thought about Nina's words. You're boring, Luke. Maybe I was boring. Maybe I'd gotten too comfortable, too complacent. But I was also loyal, honest, and hardworking. That used to count for something. Around noon, I drove to the high school. Zoe was eating lunch with her friends, laughing about something on her phone. I watched her through the cafeteria window, this beautiful girl who was half me and half the woman who was destroying our family. Dad? She looked surprised to see me. What are you doing here? We need to talk. I'm eating lunch. It's important. She sighed dramatically and followed me outside. We sat on a bench near the parking lot, away from prying eyes. Your mother told me about your conversations, I said. What conversations? About me, about her, about Eric Cole. She had the grace to look uncomfortable. Dad, do you really think I'm holding her back? I think you're different people who want different things. That's not what I asked. She was quiet for a moment, picking at her fingernails. You don't make her happy, Dad. You haven't for a long time. And Eric Cole does? He makes her smile, he makes her laugh. When was the last time you did that? I've been working, Zoe. I've been providing for our family. Providing isn't the same as loving. I do love her. I love all of you. Then why didn't you fight for her before now? The question caught me off guard. What do you mean? You knew something was wrong. You've both been unhappy for years. Why didn't you do something about it? She was right, and we both knew it. I'd been so focused on work, on being responsible, that I'd stopped being a husband. I'm trying to fix things now, I said. It's too late, Dad. She's already moved on. And you're okay with that? I'm okay with her being happy. Even if it destroys our family? Our family was already destroyed. You just didn't notice. That afternoon, I made a decision that would change everything. I went to the high school principal and requested a meeting with the guidance counselor. I told them that my daughter was going through a difficult time due to family problems and that I was concerned about her emotional well-being. It was a calculated move. By getting the school involved, I was creating a paper trail. If things got ugly, and they would, I wanted documentation showing that I was the concerned parent while Nina was the one causing the problems. Next, I stopped by the police station to see Ron Halper. I need to file a report, I said. What kind of report? Harassment. Eric Cole has been calling my house, showing up at my wife's workplace, interfering with my marriage. Luke, you know that's not how it works. I know how it works. I'm establishing a pattern. When this goes to court, I want it on record that Eric Cole is a predator who targets married women. Is that what you really think? I think Eric Cole is a piece of crap who saw an opportunity and took it. And I think my wife is a fool for falling for it. Ron leaned back in his chair. What's your end game here, Luke? I want my family back. And if you can't have it back? I thought about that for a moment. Then I want them to understand what they threw away. That evening, I took Tyler to dinner at Romano's. Just the two of us, father and son, talking about everything except the elephant in the room. How's school? I asked. Good. I made varsity baseball. That's great. When's the first game? Next week. Will you be there? Wouldn't miss it. He smiled, and I realized how rarely I saw him smile these days. Dad, can I ask you something? Anything? Are you going to divorce Mom? The question hung in the air between us. I could lie, make some excuse about working things out, but Tyler deserved the truth. Probably, yes. Good, he said. She doesn't deserve you. Tyler. No, Dad, she doesn't. You're a good man. You work hard. You provide for us. You've never cheated or lied or made us feel like we weren't important. She's throwing all that away for some guy who's probably screwing half the women in town. Don't talk about your mother like that. Why not? It's true. She's still your mother. She's still your wife, but that's not stopping her from acting like she's not. He had a point. A painful, accurate point. What about Zoe? I asked. What about her? She's supporting your mother. How do you feel about that? Tyler pushed food around his plate. Zoe's always been Mom's favorite. She's always thought the sun rose and set on her. It makes sense that she'd take Mom's side. That doesn't make it right. No, it doesn't. But it's not surprising. After dinner, we went home to an empty house. Nina and Zoe were still out doing God knows what. Tyler went to his room to study, and I sat in my workshop planning my next move. I had evidence of the affair. I had a lawyer. I had one son who supported me and one daughter who didn't. What I needed now was leverage. I started with Nina's social media. She'd been careful not to post anything obvious, but there were clues. Check-ins at restaurants I'd never been to. Photos with friends I didn't recognize. Comments from Eric Cole that were just a little too familiar. Then I moved to Eric's social media. The man was a narcissist who documented everything. There were photos of him at charity events, business meetings, family gatherings. And there, in the background of several photos, was my wife. I screenshot everything and sent it to my lawyer. The next morning, I was installing kitchen cabinets when my phone rang. It was Nina. Luke, we need to talk. About what? About last night, about what you said. I said a lot of things. You know what I mean. No, Nina, I don't. You're going to have to be more specific. She was quiet for a moment. I want to try to work things out. Do you? Yes, I think we should go to counseling, try to fix things. What about Eric? What about him? Are you going to stop seeing him? Luke, yes or no, Nina? Are you going to stop seeing Eric Cole? It's complicated. It's not complicated, it's a yes or no question. I can't just cut him out of my life completely. Nathan and Zoe are dating. That's not what I asked. I'll end the romantic relationship. When? Soon? When? This week. Today. Luke, today, Nina. End it today or I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. She hung up. I went back to work, but I couldn't concentrate. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow made me turn. I was waiting for something to happen, but I didn't know what. At lunchtime, Tyler called. Dad, you need to come home. Mom's here and she's packing. I dropped my tools and drove home faster than I should have. Nina's car was in the driveway, along with Eric Cole's BMW. I parked behind them, blocking them in. The front door was open. I could hear voices from upstairs, Nina and Zoe talking in rapid, urgent tones. Tyler was in the living room, looking miserable. What's going on? I asked. Mom's leaving. She's packing her stuff. Where's she going? I don't know. She won't tell me. I went upstairs and found Nina in our bedroom, throwing clothes into a suitcase. Zoe was helping her, both of them moving with frantic energy. Going somewhere? I asked. Nina looked up, startled. Luke, I didn't hear you come in. I can see that. Where are you going? I need some space, time to think. About what? About us, about what I want. And you need Eric Cole's help to think? He's not... She stopped, realizing she'd given herself away. He's not what, Nina? He's not waiting downstairs in his car? He's not involved in this decision? Luke, please, don't make this harder than it has to be. Harder than it has to be? You're leaving your family for another man, and you're worried about making it hard? I'm not leaving my family. I'm leaving you. Same thing. Zoe stepped forward, putting herself between us. Dad, stop. You're being cruel. I'm being cruel? Your mother is having an affair, and I'm the one being cruel? She's trying to be happy. She's trying to be selfish. That's not fair. Fair? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want to talk about fair? Fair would be your mother honoring her marriage vows. Fair would be her talking to me about our problems instead of running to another man. Fair would be her daughter supporting her father instead of encouraging her to cheat. Zoe's face flushed red. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I understand that you think I'm boring and that your mother deserves better. I understand that you'd rather see our family destroyed than see me happy. That's exactly what it is. I turned to Nina. You have 10 minutes to get your things and get out. After that, I'm calling the police. You can't kick me out. This is my house too. Actually, it's not. It's my house. I inherited it from my father, and it's in my name only. You have no legal right to be here. Nina's face went pale. Luke, you can't. I can, and I will. 10 minutes. I left them to pack and went downstairs. Tyler was still in the living room, staring at the floor. She's really leaving, he said. Yeah, she is. Are you okay? I will be. What about Zoe? I looked out the window at Eric Cole's BMW. Zoe made her choice. She's 18. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's old enough to vote and old enough to go to war. She's old enough to face the consequences of her choices. 10 minutes later, Nina came downstairs with 2 suitcases and a box of personal items. Zoe was behind her, also carrying a bag. Zoe, I said, where are you going? With Mom. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Why? Because she needs me. I need you too. No, you don't. You have Tyler. You don't need me. The casual dismissal hurt more than I expected. You're my daughter. I'm Mom's daughter too, and I'm not going to abandon her. Even if she's wrong? She's not wrong. She's just trying to be happy, at the expense of everyone else, at the expense of a marriage that was already over. I looked at my daughter, this beautiful, stubborn girl who was choosing to side with betrayal over loyalty. You're making a mistake, Zoe. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. They left together, Nina and Zoe, walking out to Eric Cole's car like they were going on vacation. I watched from the window as Eric got out to help with the bags, kissing Nina like he was welcoming her home. Tyler came and stood beside me. Now what? Now we fight. The first thing I did was change the locks. Then I called my lawyer and told her to file for divorce immediately. No more waiting, no more hoping for reconciliation. Nina had made her choice. Next, I called the school and told them that Zoe was no longer living at home, and that all communication should go through me as the custodial parent. I also mentioned that she was under emotional distress due to her mother's affair and might need counseling. Then I called Zoe's college and informed them that her tuition payments would be suspended pending the divorce proceedings. The money for her education was in an account I controlled, and I was no longer willing to pay for her to party while I was being destroyed. Finally, I went to the bank and closed all of our joint accounts, transferring the money to my personal account. Legal, since I was the primary account holder, but it would leave Nina with no access to our savings. That evening, Tyler and I ordered pizza and sat in the living room, two men trying to figure out how to be a family without the women who had abandoned them. "Are you going to be okay?" Tyler asked. "Are you?" "Yeah, I think so. I'm angry, but I'm okay." "Good. Stay angry. It'll help." "What do you mean?" "I mean, don't let them guilt you into thinking this is normal. Don't let them make you believe that what your mother did was okay." "I won't. And don't let them turn you against me." "They won't. They'll try. They'll say I'm being vindictive, that I'm punishing them for being happy. Don't listen to them." "I won't, Dad. I promise." We ate pizza and watched a baseball game. Two bachelors learning how to live without the chaos of women. It was quiet, peaceful even. But underneath the calm, I was planning. The next morning, I started phase 2 of my plan. I called the local newspaper and spoke to a reporter named Sarah Mitchell, a young woman who'd been covering local sports and social events. "I have a story for you," I said. "What kind of story?" "A story about a local businessman who's been having an affair with a married woman. A story about how he's been using his position in the community to target vulnerable women." "That's a pretty serious accusation. Do you have proof?" "I have pictures, documents, a pattern of behavior going back years. Can you come in and talk?" "I can do better than that. I can give you an exclusive." That afternoon, I sat in Sarah's office and laid out everything I had on Eric Cole. The affair with Nina was just the beginning. I'd done some digging and found out that Eric had a history of inappropriate relationships with married women. 2 previous affairs that had ended badly, one with a woman who'd left town afterward. "This is good stuff," Sarah said, looking through the documents. "But I need more sources. I can't just take your word for it." "What kind of sources?" "Other people who've been affected by his behavior, business associates who've seen him operate, former employees who might have stories. I can get you sources." "How?" "Let me worry about that." I spent the next week cultivating sources. I talked to Eric's former employees, people who'd worked at his gym and his other businesses. I talked to other husbands who'd suspected their wives of having affairs with him. I talked to women who'd been approached by him and had turned him down. The picture that emerged was of a man who used his charm and local celebrity status to manipulate women. He targeted married women specifically, preferring the thrill of the forbidden to the responsibility of single relationships. I also started documenting Nina's new life. She was living with Eric in his downtown apartment, playing house while her family fell apart. Zoe was staying there too, sleeping on the couch like a refugee from her own life. The irony was beautiful. Nina had left her comfortable home and loving husband for a man who was already looking for his next conquest. I knew it was only a matter of time before Eric got bored with her and moved on to someone new. Meanwhile, I was getting stronger. The gym had become my second home, and I was in the best shape I'd been in since leaving the army. I was also eating better, sleeping better, and feeling more focused than I had in years. Tyler was thriving too. With Nina's drama out of the house, he was more relaxed, more talkative. We spent evenings talking about school, baseball, girls, and life. Father and son getting to know each other without the interference of women who didn't want us to be happy. "Dad," Tyler said one evening, "I need to tell you something." "What's up?" I recorded some of the conversations between Mom and Zoe before they left. "What kind of conversations?" "About you, about the affair, about their plans." "What did they say?" Tyler pulled out his phone and played a recording. Nina's voice came through clearly. "He's so pathetic, Zoe. He thinks he can control me by threatening divorce. He doesn't understand that I want a divorce. I want to be free." "What about Tyler?" Zoe's voice asked. "What about him? He's almost an adult. He can choose where he wants to live." "He'll choose Dad." "Then that's his choice. I'm not going to let a 16-year-old boy control my life." "Do you love Eric?" "I love how he makes me feel. I love feeling alive again." "What if Dad fights for custody?" "Let him fight. I'll tell the judge that he's been emotionally abusive, that he's been controlling and manipulative. I'll make him look like the bad guy." Is that true? It doesn't matter if it's true. It matters if it's believable. I listened to the recording twice, my anger growing with each word. Nina was planning to lie in court, to paint me as an abuser to get what she wanted. Is there more? I asked. A lot more. She's been planning this for months, Dad. The affair, the divorce, everything. She's been playing you the whole time. Send me copies of everything. Tyler nodded and started forwarding the files to my phone. As I listened to more recordings, the depth of Nina's betrayal became clear. She hadn't just cheated on me. She'd been systematically planning to destroy me. In one recording, she talked about hiding assets. In another, she discussed how to make me look unstable in court. She'd even coached Zoe on what to say if questioned about our home life. She's been planning this for months, Tyler said quietly. Maybe longer. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I kept hoping she'd come to her senses. I kept thinking she'd realize what she was throwing away. She knew exactly what she was throwing away. She just didn't care. That night, I forwarded all of Tyler's recordings to my lawyer. Patricia Wells called me back within an hour. Luke, this is incredible. With these recordings, Nina won't get a dime in alimony. And the stuff about making false accusations of abuse, that could get her in serious legal trouble. What about custody? Tyler's old enough to choose where he wants to live. And with these recordings showing Nina's willingness to lie and manipulate, no judge would give her custody anyway. And Zoe? Zoe's 18. Legally, she can live wherever she wants, but these recordings show that she was actively participating in a plan to defraud you. That might affect her college funding. Good. Let it affect her college funding. Luke, I have to ask, are you sure you want to go this route? Once we file these recordings, there's no going back. This will get ugly. It's already ugly, Patricia. I'm just evening the odds. The next morning, I got a call from Sarah Mitchell at the newspaper. Luke, I finished my investigation into Eric Cole. The story runs tomorrow. What did you find? Enough to end his career, 3 other affairs with married women, 2 of them clients at his gym, financial irregularities at his business, and some very interesting information about his youth coaching background. What kind of information? Let's just say there are some parents who weren't happy with his mentoring style with their teenage daughters. Nothing illegal? Nothing provable, but enough to make people ask questions. When does it run? Front page tomorrow morning. I thought you should know. I hung up feeling satisfied. Eric Cole was about to discover what happened when you messed with the wrong man's family. That afternoon, Zoe called me. She sounded upset. Dad, I need to come home. Why? Eric and Mom had a fight. She's been crying all day. What did they fight about? I don't know. But he left this morning and hasn't come back. Mom won't tell me what happened. Where are you now? At his apartment. But I don't want to stay here anymore. What about your mother? She said she needs space to think. She wants me to stay somewhere else for a few days. So Nina was already getting a taste of her new life. Eric was probably already working on his next conquest, and she was discovering that being a side piece wasn't as glamorous as she'd thought. You can come home, I said, but we need to have a conversation first. About what? About your choices, about what you said and did to support your mother's affair. Dad, I'm not going to lecture you, Zoe, but I'm also not going to pretend that everything is fine between us. You chose your side. Now you have to live with the consequences. I was trying to help Mom be happy. You were trying to help Mom destroy our family. There's a difference. She was quiet for a moment. Can I come home or not? Yes, but Tyler and I have a new life now, a peaceful life. If you want to be part of it, you need to respect that. What does that mean? It means no drama, no defending your mother's choices, no trying to manipulate us into taking her back. Fine. And it means apologizing to your brother for the things you said about him and me. I never said anything bad about Tyler. You said I didn't need him. You said I had him, so I didn't need you. That hurt him more than you know. She was quiet again. I'll apologize. Good. Come home. An hour later, Zoe arrived with her bags and a sheepish expression. Tyler was in the kitchen when she walked in, and the tension was immediately obvious. Hi, she said quietly. Hi, Tyler replied, not looking up from his homework. Tyler, I need to apologize to you. He looked up then, surprised. For what? For the things I said, about Dad not needing you, about you not being important. I was wrong. Yeah, you were? I was angry and confused, and I took it out on you. That wasn't fair. Tyler considered this for a moment. Are you going to keep defending Mom? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not isn't good enough. Then no, I won't defend her anymore. Good. Apology accepted. I watched this exchange with mixed feelings. I was glad Zoe was home, but I wasn't sure I trusted her motivations. Was she genuinely sorry? Or was she just looking for a place to stay? That evening, the three of us sat down for dinner together for the first time in weeks. It was awkward at first, but gradually we fell into something that felt like normal conversation. How's school? I asked Zoe. Weird. Everyone's asking where Mom went. I don't know what to tell them. Tell them the truth. Which is what, exactly? That your mother left to pursue other interests. Dad, that's exactly what it is. She left her family to pursue an affair with Eric Cole. Those are her other interests. Zoe flinched, but didn't argue. What about Nathan? Tyler asked. Are you still dating him? I don't know. It's complicated now. Why? Because his dad is sleeping with my mom. It makes things weird. It should make things weird, I said. Your boyfriend's father destroyed our family. He didn't destroy it alone. No, he had help from your mother, and from you. Dad, I'm not trying to hurt you, Zoe. I'm trying to help you understand what really happened here. This wasn't some romantic love story. This was a predator who targeted a married woman and a wife who betrayed her family. Mom's not a victim. No, she's not. She's a participant. And so were you. We finished dinner in relative silence. Later, as I was cleaning up, Zoe approached me. Dad, can I ask you something? Sure. Are you going to try to get Mom back? No. Why not? Because I don't want her back. Really? Really? Your mother showed me who she really is. I believe her. So you're just going to get divorced and move on? I'm going to get divorced and build a better life with the people who want to be part of it. What if she realizes she made a mistake? What if she wants to come back? Then she'll discover that some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. That seems harsh. That seems realistic. The next morning, the newspaper hit the stands with Sarah Mitchell's expose on Eric Cole. The headline read, Local businessman's pattern of inappropriate relationships raises questions. The article was devastating. It detailed Eric's affairs, his questionable business practices, and the allegations about his behavior with teenage athletes. It included interviews with 3 women who'd been approached by him, 2 former employees who'd witnessed inappropriate behavior, and 1 ex-wife who'd left town after their divorce. By noon, Eric's gym had lost half its members. By evening, he'd been suspended from his position as youth athletics coordinator. My phone started ringing around 10 a.m. First, it was Nina. Luke, what did you do? I told the truth. You destroyed him. He destroyed himself. I just made sure people knew about it. This is vindictive and cruel. This is justice. You're ruining his life. He ruined mine first. She hung up on me. The next call was from Eric himself. You son of a bitch, he said without preamble. Good morning to you too, Eric. You think you're clever? You think this is over? I think you should be more careful about who you threaten. That's not a threat. That's a promise. Good. Bring it on. He hung up, but I wasn't worried. Eric Cole was a bully who was used to getting his way through charm and intimidation, but he'd never faced anyone like me before. That afternoon, I was working at the Henderson house when Eric showed up. He was angry, red-faced, and clearly looking for a fight. We need to talk, he said. We're talking. Not here. Somewhere private. I'm comfortable here. I'm not. Then leave. He stepped closer, trying to intimidate me with his size. You have no idea what you've started. I started nothing. You started it when you decided to sleep with my wife. Your wife came to me. I didn't pursue her. That's not what my sources say. Your sources are lying. Are they? Because I have 3 other women who say you have a very specific pattern of behavior. Those women are bitter and jealous. All of them? That's a lot of bitter, jealous women, Eric. He was getting more agitated, his hands clenching and unclenching. You're going to regret this. Is that a threat? It's a fact. I set down my hammer and turned to face him fully. Let me explain something to you, Eric. I'm not one of your gym buddies who's going to be intimidated by your tough guy act. I'm a combat veteran who's been in real fights with real consequences. If you want to threaten me, go ahead. But understand that I'm not afraid of you. You should be. Why? Because you're bigger than me? Because you're younger? Because you think being a local celebrity makes you untouchable? Because I have nothing left to lose. That's where you're wrong. You still have your health. You still have your freedom. You still have a lot to lose if you're stupid enough to threaten me. He stared at me for a long moment, and I could see him calculating his options. Finally, he stepped back. "This isn't over," he said. "Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet." After he left, I called Ron Halper and reported the confrontation. I wanted it on record in case Eric decided to escalate things. "He's feeling cornered," Ron said. "Cornered animals do stupid things. I'm counting on it. Luke, be careful. I mean it. I'm always careful." That evening, Tyler asked me about the confrontation. Word travels fast in a small town. "Are you worried about Eric?" he asked. "Not particularly." "Why not?" "Because Eric Cole is a bully who's never faced real consequences for his actions. Now he is, and he doesn't know how to handle it. What if he tries to hurt you? Then he'll discover that I'm not as easy to hurt as he thinks." "Dad, you're not 25 anymore." "No, I'm not. I'm 52, which means I have 30 years of experience dealing with people like Eric Cole. He's not the first bully I've faced, and he won't be the last. Still, be careful. Always am." The next few days were relatively quiet. Eric seemed to be laying low, probably getting legal advice about the newspaper article. Nina was still staying at his apartment, but according to Tyler's sources at school, things weren't going well between them. "Melissa's sister works at the grocery store," Tyler told me. "She said Mom came in yesterday looking like she'd been crying, and she was buying cheap food like she's running out of money." That made sense. With Eric's income threatened and Nina having no access to our accounts, they were probably feeling the financial pressure. "She could get a job," I said. "When's the last time Mom worked? Before Zoe was born? That's 20 years ago. Who's going to hire her? That's her problem now." I know it sounds cold, but I was past feeling sorry for Nina. She'd made her choices, and now she was living with the consequences. On Friday afternoon, I got a call from Patricia Wells. "Luke, we need to meet. Something's happened." "What?" "Nina's filed a countersuit. She's claiming emotional abuse and demanding spousal support." "Based on what?" "Based on the recordings Tyler made. She's claiming you violated her privacy by recording her without consent. Tyler recorded her, not me." "Doesn't matter. Virginia is a one-party consent state, so the recordings are legal. But she's trying to use them to paint you as controlling and manipulative. Can she do that? She can try. But the recordings themselves prove that she was planning to lie about abuse, which undermines her credibility. What's our next move?" "We fight. Hard. I'm going to file a motion to dismiss her countersuit based on fraud. And I'm going to request sanctions against her lawyer for filing a frivolous claim." "Do it!" "Luke, this is going to get expensive. I don't care about the money. It's also going to get nasty. Are you prepared for that?" "I've been prepared since the day I found out about the affair." That weekend, Tyler and I went to his baseball game. It was the first time I'd been to a school event since everything had started, and I could feel people staring. Some looked sympathetic, others looked curious, and a few looked judgmental. Tyler pitched well, striking out 6 batters and giving up only 2 runs. After the game, several parents came over to congratulate him, but I could tell they really wanted to ask about Nina. "Luke," said Margaret Henderson, whose kitchen I was renovating, "how are you holding up?" "I'm fine, Margaret. Thanks for asking." "If you need anything at all, please let me know." "I appreciate that." She hesitated, then leaned closer. "For what it's worth, I think you're handling this with a lot of class." "Thank you." "And that article about Eric Cole, well, let's just say it didn't surprise anyone who really knows him." "Is that right?" "Oh yes, there have been rumors for years. You just gave people permission to talk about them." As we walked to the car, Tyler asked, "How does it feel being the talk of the town?" "Liberating." "Really?" "Really. For years, I tried to be the perfect husband, the perfect father, the perfect citizen. I worked hard, kept my mouth shut, and minded my own business, and where did it get me? Divorced?" "Exactly. So now I'm done trying to be perfect. Now I'm just trying to be honest." "I like this version of you better." "So do I." Monday morning brought more drama. Zoe came downstairs looking upset. "Dad, I need to tell you something." "What's up?" "Mom called me last night. She wants me to testify for her in the divorce." "Testify about what?" "About you. About how you've been controlling and emotionally abusive." "And what did you tell her?" "I told her no." I was surprised. "Really?" "Really. I've been thinking about everything that's happened, and I realize she's been lying to me too." How so? She told me you were the reason she was unhappy, that you were holding her back, keeping her from being herself. But that wasn't true, was it? What do you think? I think she was unhappy with herself and blamed you for it. I think she wanted excitement and adventure, and when she didn't get it from you, she went looking for it somewhere else. That's a very mature observation. I'm 18. I'm supposed to be mature. You're also supposed to be loyal to your family. I was loyal. I was just loyal to the wrong person. We stood there in the kitchen, father and daughter, finally understanding each other. Does this mean you forgive me? She asked. It means we start over. I'd like that. Good. Because I'd like that too. That afternoon, Nina showed up at the house. She looked terrible, thinner, pale, with dark circles under her eyes. The woman who'd left 3 weeks ago had been radiant and confident. This woman looked defeated. I need to talk to you, she said. About what? About us. About our marriage. We don't have a marriage, Nina. We have divorce proceedings. We could stop them. We could try again. Why would I want to do that? Because we have 22 years together. Because we have children together. Because I made a mistake. A mistake? Is that what you're calling it now? Yes, a terrible mistake. Which part was the mistake? The affair, the lying, the planning to destroy me in court, or just getting caught? She looked down at her hands. All of it. Everything. I don't believe you. Luke, please. I don't believe you because you're not sorry. You're just sorry it didn't work out the way you planned. That's not true, isn't it? A week ago, you were telling everyone who'd listened that I was abusive and controlling. Now you want to reconcile? What changed? I realized what I was losing. No, you realized that Eric Cole isn't the man you thought he was. You realized that being his mistress isn't as glamorous as being my wife. And you realized that you have no money, no job, and no prospects. You're being cruel. I'm being honest, something you've forgotten how to do. I still love you. No, you don't. You love what I can provide for you, the house, the financial security, the respectability. You love the idea of being Mrs. Luke Grant, small-town wife and mother, but you don't love me. How can you say that? Because if you loved me, you wouldn't have cheated. If you loved me, you wouldn't have lied. If you loved me, you wouldn't have tried to destroy me in court. She started crying then, big tears rolling down her cheeks. I was confused. I was going through something. You were bored, and instead of talking to me about it, you decided to have an affair. I tried to talk to you. You never listened. When? When did you try to talk to me? Lots of times. Give me one example. She was quiet, searching her memory. I can't remember specifically because it never happened. You never tried to talk to me. You just started looking for someone else to make you happy. That's not fair. What's not fair is what you did to our family. What's not fair is turning our daughter against me. What's not fair is planning to lie in court to get what you want. I wasn't going to lie. I have recordings, Nina. Tyler recorded your conversations. I know exactly what you were planning to do. Her face went white. He recorded me? He recorded you planning to commit perjury. He recorded you coaching Zoe on what to say. He recorded you talking about how pathetic and controlling I am. Those conversations were private. Nothing you say in my house is private, especially when you're plotting against me. She sat down heavily in one of the kitchen chairs. What do you want from me? I want you to sign the divorce papers and disappear. I can't disappear. I live here. Not anymore. Find somewhere else to live. With what money? That's your problem. Luke, please, I have nowhere to go. You should have thought of that before you decided to leave. I made a mistake. Yes, you did. A big one. And now you have to live with the consequences. What about the children? Tyler's staying with me. Zoe can choose. She's my daughter, too. Then maybe you should have considered that before you abandoned her for Eric Cole. Nina looked around the kitchen, taking in the home she'd walked away from. This is really it? This is how it ends? This is how you ended it. I could fight you in court. I could make things very difficult for you. You could try, but you'd lose, and you'd lose badly. How can you be so sure? Because I have evidence of your affair. I have recordings of you planning to commit perjury. I have documentation of your abandonment of the family. And I have a very good lawyer who's looking forward to destroying you in court. You've changed? Yes, I have. I used to be the kind of man who would let people walk all over him to keep the peace. Now, I'm the kind of man who fights back. I don't like this version of you. I don't care what you like anymore. She sat there for a few more minutes, crying quietly. Then she stood up and walked to the door. I'll sign the papers, she said without turning around. Good. But I want to say goodbye to Tyler. That's up to him. She left without another word. I watched her drive away and I felt nothing. No sadness, no regret, no relief, just emptiness where 22 years of love used to be. That evening, Tyler came home from baseball practice to find me sitting on the porch with a beer. Mom was here? He asked. How did you know? I can tell. You have that look. What look? The look you get when you've been dealing with her drama. I told him about the conversation, about Nina's offer to reconcile and my refusal. How do you feel about that? I asked. Relieved, he said. I was worried you might take her back. Why? Because you loved her for so long. I thought maybe you'd forgive her. I did love her. For 22 years, I loved her more than anything. But that woman is gone. The woman who came here today is a stranger who looks like your mother. Do you think she'll really sign the divorce papers? Yeah, she doesn't have any other options. What about Eric? What about him? Are you done with him? I thought about that for a moment. Not quite. What else are you going to do? I'm going to make sure he never forgets what happens when you mess with the wrong family. The next morning, I put the final phase of my plan into motion. I called the IRS and reported Eric's gym for tax evasion. I called the State Athletics Commission and reported his inappropriate behavior with young athletes. I called the Better Business Bureau and filed complaints about his business practices. Then I went to see Nathan Cole. I found him at the high school, eating lunch alone. He looked up when I approached, and I could see the fear in his eyes. Mr. Grant, Relax, Nathan. I'm not here to yell at you. You're not? No, you didn't do anything wrong. This isn't your fault. I feel like it is. If you hadn't started dating Zoe, your father would have found some other way to destroy my marriage. This is about him, not you. He's not a bad person. Yes, he is. But you don't have to be. I don't understand. Your father is a predator who uses his charm to manipulate people. You have the same charm, but you can choose to use it differently. I would never... Good. Remember that feeling. Remember how disgusted you are by what your father did. Hold on to that. Are you going to keep going after him? Until he's completely destroyed? Yes. Why? Because some people only understand consequences. Your father has spent years hurting people and getting away with it. It's time for him to pay. What about me and Zoe? What about you? Can we still... is it okay if we... That's between you and Zoe. But Nathan, understand that your father destroyed my family. If you want to be part of my daughter's life, you need to understand that. I do understand, and I'm sorry. Don't apologize for him. Just be better than him. That afternoon, Eric Cole was arrested for tax evasion. The IRS had found discrepancies in his business filings going back 3 years. By evening, he was out on bail, but his reputation was completely destroyed. My phone rang around dinner time. It was Nina. You did this, she said. I did what? You had Eric arrested. I reported suspected tax evasion to the appropriate authorities. What they did with that information was up to them. This is harassment. This is justice. You're destroying an innocent man. Eric Cole is many things, but innocent isn't one of them. I hate you. Good. Now you know how I felt when I found out about your affair. She hung up. The next morning, the local newspaper ran a follow-up story about Eric's arrest. The headline read, "Embattled businessman faces federal charges." The article detailed the tax evasion charges and connected them to the earlier story about his inappropriate relationships. It painted a picture of a man whose entire life was built on lies and manipulation. By noon, Eric's gym had closed permanently. By evening, he'd put his house up for sale. I was in my workshop that night when Zoe came to see me. Dad, can we talk? Sure. I need to tell you something about Nathan. What about him? He broke up with me. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're right. I'm not. But I am sorry that you're hurt. He said he couldn't handle the drama, that having his dad involved with my mom made everything too complicated. He's probably right. I know, but it still hurts. Of course it does. Dad, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Okay. Are you ever going to forgive Mom? I thought about that for a long moment. I don't know. Maybe someday, but not anytime soon. What about me? Will you forgive me? You're my daughter. I'll always forgive you. Even though I chose her side, you were confused and manipulated. I understand that now. I wasn't just confused, I was selfish. I wanted Mom to be happy and I didn't care if it hurt you. Why? Because I thought you were strong enough to handle it. I thought you'd be fine no matter what happened. I am fine, but that doesn't mean I wasn't hurt. I know, and I'm sorry. Apology accepted. We stood there in comfortable silence for a while, father and daughter, finally on the same side. What happens now? She asked. Now we rebuild. The three of us. What about Mom? What about her? Will she be okay? That's not my problem anymore. That sounds cold. Maybe it is, but I spent 22 years worrying about your mother's happiness. Now it's time to worry about my own. Are you happy? I'm getting there. A week later, Nina signed the divorce papers. She didn't fight for alimony, didn't fight for property, didn't fight for anything. She just signed and walked away. Eric Cole left town shortly after that. The federal charges were still pending, but he'd lost everything else. His business, his reputation, his home. He just packed up and disappeared. I heard later that Nina went with him, but I didn't really care. They deserved each other. Tyler, Zoe, and I settled into our new life. It was quieter than before, more peaceful. We ate dinner together every night, talked about our days, made plans for the future. Tyler made varsity baseball and got a scholarship offer from a small college in North Carolina. Zoe got her grades back up and decided to take a gap year to figure out what she really wanted to do with her life. And me? I started dating again. Nothing serious, just dinner and conversation with women who appreciated honesty and loyalty. Women who understood that a good man was worth keeping. 6 months after the divorce was final, I was finishing up a job when my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. Luke, it's Nina. I almost hung up. Almost. But curiosity got the better of me. What do you want? I want to come home. You don't have a home here anymore. Luke, please. Eric and it didn't work out. I'm shocked. I made a terrible mistake. I know that now. Yes, you did. Can we try again? Can we work things out? No. Just like that? No. Just like that. Don't you miss what we had? I miss what I thought we had, but that was an illusion. It wasn't all an illusion. Most of it was. The woman I thought I married wouldn't have cheated on me. The woman I thought I married wouldn't have abandoned her children. The woman I thought I married wouldn't have tried to destroy me in court. People make mistakes. People make mistakes. You made choices. What if I could prove that I've changed? How would you do that? I don't know, but I could try. It's too late, Nina. It's never too late. It is this time. Luke, I hung up. That evening, I told Tyler and Zoe about the call. What did you tell her? Zoe asked. I told her no. Good, Tyler said. We don't need her drama. What if she keeps calling? Zoe asked. Then I'll change my number. Don't you feel sorry for her at all? No. I feel sorry for the woman I thought I married, but that woman never existed. That's harsh. That's realistic. Zoe was quiet for a moment. Dad, can I tell you something? Always. I'm proud of you. For what? For not taking her back. For standing up for yourself. For showing me what self-respect looks like. Thank you. And I'm sorry it took me so long to figure out that you were the good guy in all this. You figured it out. That's what matters. We finished dinner and cleaned up together, the three of us working as a team. Later, we sat on the porch and watched the sunset, talking about everything and nothing. Dad, Tyler said, are you happy now? Yeah, I am. Really? Really? For the first time in years, I'm exactly where I want to be with the people I want to be with. No regrets? About the divorce? No. About the way I handled things? No. About the time I wasted trying to save a marriage that was already dead? Maybe a little. But you do it all again. Every bit of it. Even the part where you destroyed Eric Cole? Especially that part. We sat in comfortable silence as the stars came out. Three people who'd been through hell and come out stronger on the other side. I thought about Nina, wherever she was, probably calling some other man and begging for another chance. I thought about Eric Cole running from the consequences of his actions. I thought about the life I'd lost and the life I'd gained. You know what the best part is? I said. What? Zoe asked. I don't have to pretend anymore. I don't have to pretend to be happy when I'm not. I don't have to pretend that everything is fine when it's not. I don't have to pretend that I'm not angry when I am. Are you still angry? Tyler asked. Sometimes, but it's a clean anger now, an honest anger. What's the difference? Clean anger motivates you to fix things. Dirty anger just eats you alive. And you fixed things. I fixed what could be fixed. I got rid of what couldn't be. As we got ready for bed, I realized that I'd finally found something I'd been looking for my whole life. Peace. Not the false peace of avoiding conflict, but the real peace that comes from fighting for what matters and letting go of what doesn't. My phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Nina. I'll keep trying. I won't give up on us. I deleted the message without responding and blocked her number. Some bridges, once burned, should stay burned.